Howdy, with this recording, want to go over the schedule real quickly, make sure we're on the same page there and you know what you're getting into. I'm doing this video on Tuesday, March 9th. For this Thursday, nothing's actually due in the course, but you should be reading at least Act 1 of A Dollhouse. Make sure you're getting going on that play. It's a full-length play. It's going to take you a good couple hours to read. So be sure you're allotting time for that the same way I allotted time for you, you in the schedule to read it. This is a Dollhouse, written by Henrik Ibsen, sometimes called the father of modern dramatic realism. Although you're going to get into the play and kind of go like, oh, I'm not sure this is 100% realism. But it does start out with it's a fairly plausible situation of married couple arguing about what married couples argue about, money, right? And a lot of other things, and who controls what in the relationship and how that power is exerted and used. Very interesting stuff going on there. But sometimes students get to the end of Act 1 and like, what should I be getting out of this? And that's kind of what the handout's going to do. But then you should be reading the full play by Monday and completing response number 10, which will be due on Monday night as well. After that, we'll get into Lulu, Anew, a graphic novel. Again, a full-length work. It's going to take you 2-3 hours to read. That's why you have all this extra time. That's not a lot of time. It's not like you don't have 1,000 other things to do, right? But that's why there's nothing due on the 18th either, giving you time to read the graphic novel and make sure, again, you have time to read that. Response number 11 will be based on Lulu Anew, and then we'll start essay number 2 and compare these two works, and particularly how we read them and how they give meaning to us and how we have to create meaning out of what we're given when we read, particularly a graphic novel. For Lulu Anew, make sure this week you can access it. Now, if you've already bought the book, you're in good shape. If you haven't and you're going to use the free version on the EBSCO database, that's fine. Let me make myself bigger. The hard copy book, I got mine used on Amazon.com for $7. But you want to kind of get it now because it's going to take a week or two to get here if you haven't done that. But again, I'm going to show you how to access the free version here in a second. But very nice book, hard copy. This one was used in an old library version, but it was in good shape. But when you open it up, you're going to see you're getting quite a bit's going on for that money there. When you have the artwork, this particular graphic novel was done in done in watercolor. Lots of oranges and light blues. It's kind of a somber, particularly at the beginning, but it also gets a little darker towards the middle. But he plays with these two colors quite a bit. But it's a beautiful graphic novel to look at. And of course, there's an interesting story in it as well. If you got the book, you can stop the video now and go about your spring break. If you're going to use the EBSCO database, please stay on and let me show you how to do that. To get to the databases, we're going to come here to D2L, and there's a link right here to the database. When you click on it, it's probably going to ask you for your Northeast State username and password. If you change your password in D2L, you have to go back to the original one. It's not the same one you have in D2L if you've changed your D2L password. So you may have to go back to your birthday and 6 digits. If you're having trouble accessing the databases, I suggest calling the library because I can't help you with that very much. You can email me and say, hey, I can't access this, and I'll be like, well, call the library. I don't do usernames and passwords. But we're going to click on that link. It's probably going to open up for me. I've been on here today, yeah. There's different ways to access it. I don't really recommend downloading it because the download reader, they have it arranged so you can only have it for, I think, 15 days or something like that. And you have to have the special app and all this kind of stuff. And it presents it very small on the screen. I have trouble seeing it. You can try it if you want to. But I would just recommend going over here to table of contents. And you can start on the cover page, the copyright page, the title page if you want to. I generally just go straight to Lulu Anew, the actual beginning of the graphic novel. And it's going to take a second to load up, particularly if you kind of skip between pages. But that's the first page of the novel. Very interesting. This guy's about to start telling us a story here. There's different ways to view it. I recommend going to down here to fit page. I'm down here on the right side. And I'll give you one page at a time on your screen, and then you can hit full screen, and you can see the novel there. If it's not big enough for you, I got a fairly small laptop screen. You can make it bigger. That would probably be a little too small for me to read. But you can just scroll down and start reading reading the novel. We'll get into how to read a graphic novel when we get closer to this. But you can just kind of see and kind of start scrolling through there. There's Lulu there at her job interview. Notice that first, you can see a lot of interesting stuff can happen as you're reading and looking at the artwork at the same time. There's nothing in that first panel, but all that blank space kind of gives you a feeling about what Lulu's feeling and where she's at in her life. As you read a graphic novel, you're going to go left to right and up and down. This one's fairly easy to read. Sometimes different graphic novels play with these formats, but this author kind of keeps it fairly easy to read. But again, you want to read left to right, then you go down to the next one and read left to right. But you can see it's a beautifully drawn or painted work. Those orange colors are just very interesting to look at. The orange and the blues particularly. But that's how you access it. If you scroll too quickly, you're going to get the spinning wheel saying, hey, we can't go that fast. But you can always go back to fit the page if you want it back to the size you had it before. I think. Right? Hard to tell. Yeah, I just clicked back down here on fit page and made it small again if you want to look at the whole page all at once. But that's how you access the graphic novel. Again, I strongly recommend you do that now. Don't wait till the night before the response papers due or something and say, hey, I can't access it. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? You should have been doing this over spring break. But let me know if you have any questions, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Oh, I got to stop. Bye-bye.